It's YouTube babies. So, man, you want to talk about the old footballs first, or do you want to talk about, some trades that happened that were fucking crazy?
There's really nothing to talk about football wise
Yeah,
because there
just
was no football played this week. So let's
was
talk trades.
wasn't there their version of the All-Star game? Or no?
I never watched the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I get that because I'm about to the point. Like I used to always love watching the All-Star game, but boy, oh howdy, it's getting rough. It's getting
hmm
rough.
It's just
But
both teams score 175 points, and
yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, it's like last. I mean, like there's times where I'm like, yeah, this is kind of funny with like Luka and Jokic, but at the same time, I'm like, you guys could just not be here, and we could put people that want to play here instead. Because this is like cute and funny for the first 2 minutes, and now I'm like, get someone that actually wants to do this. Come on. But speaking of Luka, what do you think about that trade?
I think it's the dumbest trade in that franchise's history.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's gonna be like the worst trade of all time, and I'm like, I don't think so. Mostly because do you remember the Brooklyn Nets Kevin Garnett Paul Pierce trade?
I don't remember now.
That was like a little bit before you were watching, but you were living with Kyle, and so he knew about it. But so the Boston Celtics were like, we're blowing it up, and they traded Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to the Brooklyn Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets were like trying to make something, so they had like Darren Williams and Andre Karolinko, and they like got fucking 50 draft and like Brooke Lopez, and they gave up like all of their draft capital, and then those draft picks became Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, a bunch of other like mediocre guys because like honestly Boston's not the best at drafting, so like a bunch of other, but they were like high picks because turns out Garnett and Paul Pierce were way past their prime. And then they also were like, we're gonna get Jason Kidd as our coach. And Jason Kidd's just sitting there like, so yeah, it didn't work out for him. And then they were just shit for the longest time until like they started getting good. Then Durant and Kyrie ruined it, and now they're trying to get good again.
Yeah. I I read today that Lucas said he bought a house like 2 weeks ago.
$15 million house. Like his realtor's probably like, oh man, I gotta make commission on this again.
Yeah, I mean, just so shitty.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that
then
GM has probably got death threats.
dude, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on. So apparently, him and Rob Pelinka, the GM of the Lakers, we're old friends, and I'm just like, maybe the GM is like, I'm gonna make this terrible fucking trade to the Lakers, and then when I get inevitably fired, because I'm probably gonna get fired sooner or later anyway, I'll just get a job with the Lakers, because Rob is a buddy of mine.
Maybe
Like, it's because it doesn't make any sense at all.
it doesn't. I don't. I like I the Mavs just have a bunch of people past their prime, and Luka's not past his prime.
No, he's not even at his prime yet.
Yeah,
Like, man. And then, like, I'm just genuinely curious what Mark Cuban's opinion is on all this, because since he had no say, because he's minority share, but he loved Luca. Like, if I wish someone would love me as much as he loved Luca. Like,
I know. There's that quote of him, if it's between trading Luka and divorcing my wife, you'll catch me at my lawyer's
yeah.
office.
So it's just like I'm just like, man, the only person he might love more than Luca is Dirk.
Yeah,
So like he's gotta be very maybe he's looking into trying to buy the Lakers now.
maybe. I saw. I mean, I saw some pretty funny tweets about it. I know you saw all of them too, because we shared a few of them, but boy, I just do not understand what's going on there.
No, and then another fun trade, which it's like Sacramento is like, these idiots have the worst trade package in the world. Hold my beer. And then they made a trade to add Zach LaVine, and and a couple draft picks. One of the draft picks is also protected. The Charlotte Hornets one's protected. So since they're not going to be like I think a top 15 team this year, it's just going to turn into two second rounders instead. So they got like I think two first rounds, not even the good first rounds, two first round picks and two second round picks, and Zach LaVine for De'Aaron Fox, and that's about it.
Well, who else? I thought another player was wrapped up in all this going to San Antonio.
Um, I think we might have got another player, but it was just kind of like filler because we got
I
rid
thought
of
it was
Collins
something
and Trey
about,
Jones,
well, I
and
thought it was like DeJounte Murray was going somewhere. Am I
DeJounte
crazy?
Murray. Yeah, we traded him like 2 years ago.
Well, right, but I swear I saw his
He
name wrapped up in somewhere.
he's injured. He tore his ACL. I think he or one of the CLs, and he's out for the
Okay.
season because
Okay.
he's on the Pelicans now.
Okay. Maybe that's
But
what I saw then.
yeah, so they got Zach LaVine, and I don't know if you remember this, but a couple years ago, the Bulls had Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and a big white foreign guy. The Kings are like, man, we're gonna be the Bulls of 3 years ago. They're like, we're gonna be like the Bulls, and the fans are like the '96 Michael Jordan Bulls, and
No,
like the Derrick Rose Bulls.
the 2021 Bulls.
It's like, well, will we at least have Lonzo Ball? Because he was like the bright spot when he got injured. That's when they went bad. They're like, no.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
And speaking of Lonzo, I'm just gonna say this, and I'll get your opinion. I really think your Bucks need to make it try to get him for, as a trade. Because it's like he's a good defender. He can shoot, and that's really what you guys need at all times around Giannis.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people think they're going to trade Chris, and I don't know.
I mean, I think now after that Luka trade, it wouldn't look as bad if they traded Chris. But I mean, if you're trying to make yourself look loyal, it's not a good idea. But like I said, with it being a Middleton trade, or like after that Luka trade, it's kind of like, yeah, you can be as shitty as you want to these guys apparently.
Yeah, I if they trade for Lonzo, I hope that it's something like anything that involves Pat Connaughton and no one else. Just
So
trade
I
for trade.
so I think you'd have to give up Bobby too, if I remember right. But which that's kind of a toss up because it's like he's good and Lonzo gets hurt a lot,
Mhm.
but there's also a chance that Lonzo's gonna get bought out because he does have a fat contract. So if he gets bought out, the Bucks should really try for him.
Yeah,
Because if you put like a good defender that can actually do something too next to Dame, that's gonna help a lot.
right. Yeah. I hope they do something, just not something super drastic because
Yeah,
I think they're good enough. They just need like a tweak or two, you know?
yeah. The Nico, the GM for the Mavs, was saying, "Well, I did make one other call other than the Lakers, and that was to the Bucks to see if they wanted to trade Giannis."
Hmm.
It's like, first off, I don't believe you. Secondly, you knew how that call was gonna go.
Yeah.
Like, stupid.
Yeah. No, like not a single person would have wanted that.
Yeah. It's like that's a bad trade for the Bucks, and hell, just like this one, it's a bad trade for the Mavs.
Yeah. Yeah. we'll see what happens. It's going to be
Yeah.
an interesting rest of the season.
One of my favorite things though is like Laker fans are still so delusional because like Miles Turner was on the trade block for like his whole career. Now he really isn't. And so, but they're still like, we need to trade for Miles Turner. That's going to make us a championship contender. It's like, first off, I love Miles Turner. It is not going to make anybody a championship contender.
Yeah.
And then secondly, you don't have anything to trade. It's like, oh, Rui Hachimura and then a first round pick. It's like the Pacers wouldn't want that. Have you seen how we draft? It's not good.
And Rui's not going to play center, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, I mean, who's going to play center for the Lakers now, anyways?
LeBron. They're gonna be like, Luca, get out there.
For real. Oh, all right. Episode time.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Two Worlds podcast. I'm Jake, and with me, as always, is the Maria to my Richter. It's Casey. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. What's up with you?
We've been talking some ball. Now it's time to talk some comics.
Yeah. The nerds are jocks, as they say. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but before we get into our trivia, we have some YouTube comments. Um, all coming from Gerblaw. He left a few on our last episode. He said, for the Neil Gaiman fans, from someone who read all of Sandman, the Judge Anderson series. It's in my top three or close to. I've never read that series.
Yeah, I Googled that one because I saw that first one, and it's in the Judge Dredd universe and with the Judge name. And I've not read it either, but I'm like, I'm sure any of the Judge books would, would be good for Gaiman fans. And I was thinking
Right.
of another one too, the Hellboy stuff or anything Mike Mignola.
Hmm.
I think that'd be a good one too for the fans.
I agree. And then he said, I would for sure watch a Secret Six movie, even if it was obviously going to be bad. So I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't remember what we were talking about for that.
Because the Deathstroke and Bane being an actually a
Oh, yeah,
Secret
yeah,
Six
yeah.
movie,
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
which is the rumor going around.
And then he's finally, the things I remember from the New 52 was the weird titles he knew weren't going to last. I was reading Frankenstein, I, Vampire, Resurrection Man, and Justice League Dark. I loved all of those personally.
Dude,
Yeah,
just like Dark lasted way longer than I thought too.
yeah. I read that one after the fact, but I really enjoyed it. And then I read I, Vampire at the time and really, really liked that book. But I haven't ever touched Frankenstein, and I know you were big on it.
Yeah,
I need to revisit or visit it one of these days.
it's really good, but I'm not I'll be honest. So like the Flashpoint Frankenstein was awesome. They got really good art. And then the New 52 one, it's like I think the art might have changed throughout and it just progressively got worse.
Mm.
So like that it is kind of jarring at times when you're like, what is this?
Any idea who did it?
No, I
New 52 Frankenstein artist. Let's see here.
there's one part in the Flashpoint one though, for those that just want to hear something awesome. The Frankenstein's monster, he ends up killing Hitler,
Oh, nice.
which yeah, I'm just like that's cool. Because like Hitler's about to like take the, like about to blow his own brains out. And he's like, "You don't get to do this." And he like grabs the gun from him. Like, that's awesome.
So it's Alberto Ponticelli.
Was he the artist for the whole thing, or did it change?
He was at least the artist for both Jeff Lemire and Matt Kint.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it was the whole thing.
Then he must have just been rushed or something because it wasn't that bad to begin with, and then like I said, progressively got worse.
Yeah, granted, most of the things that will populate for me are covers, but I remember thinking the covers looked cool.
Hmm.
Anyway, okay, well, thanks, Nick. Man, I always hope that they would bring iVampire back. I'm surprised that hasn't been a miniseries or
Yeah.
something.
Or at least something with that guy. Because
Yeah.
like he was in I think he was in like Ram V's Justice League Dark, like as a character that got brought in. Like he wasn't one of the main, but I think he
Hmm.
might have showed up. I think that might have been his last sighting.
Yeah. Okay, trivia time. This week, it's the Hulk.
Ooh, hopefully I do good on this since I feel like I know stuff about him,
Well,
unlike the
I
Inhumans.
had to Google everything because I did not know.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, just let me know for any of these if you want the choices. What is Bruce Banner's full name?
It's like Bruce David Banner.
That is one of the options, but that's not correct,
Oh,
according to the internet.
what is it then? That's what I always thought.
Robert Bruce Banner?
Oh,
Maybe continuity changed over time. Who
yeah.
knows,
Well,
man?
because I know, because so this is just like in the Hulk TV show, because I think his name's David Banner in that, and so then they kind of changed stuff around for that, and they were like, well, he can't be named Bruce because Bruce is a gay name. That was what the TV exec said. I picture Stanley like, what the fuck ever, just your checks have cleared, call him what you want, I don't care.
That is so crazy. I've never
Yeah.
heard that before.
Yeah. So they're like, we call it, we'll make Bruce his middle name or whatever, that
Like,
was
have
that
you
was what
seen
the
that fruitcake Batman? Come on.
yeah. It's like, yeah, it's only gay people are named Bruce.
And anyway, question two. Who dubbed Bruce Banner's monstrous self the Hulk?
Hmm.
I'm going to
I
be
would
straight up with you. I could not find an answer on this.
Oh,
Simply
okay.
couldn't.
So my guess would be Thunderbolt Ross.
That's one of the options. It's Rick Jones, an unidentified soldier, Thunderbolt Ross, or Bruce Banner.
I could see it being an unidentified soldier too. I don't think it would be Rick though, because Rick always had a good relationship with him.
Hmm.
And like calling, be like, "Oh, look at this Hulk,"
Look
unless,
at this fucking freak.
yeah, like that doesn't seem like something Rick would do.
Yeah. Okay. After the gamma explosion, when does Bruce first change into the Hulk?
At night. Is that like, or what would be the options?
That's close enough.
Okay.
One of the options is when night falls the evening of the explosion, and that seemed to be the general consensus.
Yeah, I don't know when that changed, but he used to be like,
It was like a
ju
werewolf,
yeah.
kind of.
And then like that's Immortal Hulk kind of brought that back when at first. I don't think it's stuck, but
Okay.
yeah.
Um, okay. Who sought to kill Bruce Banner the second time he tried to marry Betty Ross?
Probably the leader.
That's an option, but it is incorrect.
So it's Thunderbolt. Those are my two guesses.
Yep.
Okay.
Other choices were the Hulk or Glenn Talbot. Okay. What does the ringmaster use to hypnotize his victims?
I'm gonna need options because I don't really know if I know who the ringmaster is.
Telepathic power, a spinning disc on his hat, eye contact, his voice.
I'm gonna go spinning disc on his hat.
Yes. I mean, he looks ridiculous, so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's totally how he does that. Who is Tyrannus?
Like I'm assuming it's a dinosaur character that lives in the center of the earth.
It is not. So
Oh,
we've got an ancient wizard, the last emperor of ancient Rome, a deviant warlord, or an alien monarch.
alien monarch.
No,
Damn.
he's the last emperor of ancient Rome.
Damn, I never paid attention in my ancient Rome class in college.
Well, look where it got you.
I know.
And finally, who is Tyrannus's arch rival in Subterranea?
No clue.
Queen Kala of the Netherworld, Grotesque, the Mole Man, the Lava Min.
Mole Man?
Yes,
Okay.
some tough ones.
Yeah. Makes you feel like a real noob.
It does indeed. Well, not me. I didn't know either way, but anyway.
Like it makes me think you're a real noob.
So, okay. Now it's time for the news.
Yep. Jakey's got the news this week.
Yes, sir. Not a lot of items, but definitely some things worth mentioning. So, um, the Blue Beetle animated series, which apparently was talked about a long time ago,
Mhm.
is apparently moving forward and is set for a 2026 release. The gentleman whose name I cannot pronounce that played the live action Blue
Yeah.
Beetle will voice him, which is good. Um, the showrunner, let's see here, is Miguel Puga, who did the Casa Grandes, and showrunner and director. And then the writer is Christian Martinez, who did Good Trouble.
I know Good Trouble. Bree watches Good Trouble. It's shit, but
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's one I am interested in because I liked the Blue Beetle movie. So I hope that
yeah.
that project does well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the best route for it too. Animated.
Yeah, I mean the movie was good enough for a sequel for sure, but I mean I think either way is fine. And speaking of show stuff, Netflix canceled The Sandman after season two. Did you see the reason they gave?
No, I didn't.
Ooh, this was great. So they said the Sandman series has always been focused exclusively on Dream's story. And back in 2022, when we looked at the remaining Dream material from the comics, we knew we only had enough material for one more season. That book ran for like 75
Yeah.
issues, man. I was just like, wow, that is
Well,
just say Neil Gaiman's a rapist and you don't want to continue. That's all you gotta say.
in all fairness, the first season's what, 50 episodes? That's why they only have so much, right?
About 8 episodes.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. And certain episodes were one issue per
hmm
episode. The diner one. But it's like, dude, this could go for quite some time.
Yeah, especially only doing 8 at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So just fucking stupid. It's like we all know the reason. Just be honest with the people.
Yeah. Or I mean, you could even just be not be honest and be like, yeah, it costs a lot of money to make. It's going to end up costing more. And we're Netflix. We just raise people's prices. We can't afford a big show like this.
Yep. Also a fine excuse.
Hmm. It actually makes sense.
Right. Um, okay. So Fabian Nizia and Emilio Lizo are doing a Godzilla versus X-Men miniseries in May.
That's
I
exciting.
know, yeah, I think Fabian's a good writer. Um, I guess there's going to be a couple of one-shots maybe before this,
Hmm.
like a Godzilla versus Fantastic Four, and I forget what the other one is, probably Avengers or something. But
I know Hulk is one.
oh, Hulk is one. Okay,
Yeah.
so that
The
should be exciting.
Fantastic Four one, because we talked about this kind of earlier, it's going to have King Ghidorah as Herald of Galactus. And
Oh,
they've actually leaked the pictures now too. And it's like when you hear it, you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be the coolest thing ever." So then when you finally see it, you're like, "This is kind of a letdown."
that's too bad.
But I mean, there's no way you could fucking live up to
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it should be still pretty darn cool.
And if anything, that means a lot more variants, Godzilla
Yep.
Marvel variants for you. So,
And I'm curious too if they're gonna be because like DC came out with Godzilla and versus Kong versus Justice League toys. So I'd be curious if Marvel will be coming out with some too, because it'd be cool.
good enough toys that you want.
I'm a little like if I because people would be posting they got it from Target. I'm like if I'm at Target, which I don't go to Target that often because I'm not rich, but but if I'm at Target and I see it and it's like a good price, I'd get it. But I'm not gonna be like I need to tell Jake buy this for me and send it my way. Like that's not a thing. I'm not gonna be special, special Ori online. So like if I see it, yeah, I'd get it.
Fair enough. All right. And then I'll kind of lump all this together, but it's more Diamond stuff. Valiant announced that their Valiant Beyond, which was, I mean, they kind of had a resurgence like this last year, but they were going to do more. And they said that that's now postponed because of the Diamond bankruptcy. Um, they also say that they think a lot of comic prices are going to be going up by at least $1 because of the uh, Canada tariffs. And then Antarctic Press has canceled all of their anthologies over Diamond as well. And then finally, Dark Horse has said that they're moving their primary distribution to Penguin as well.
I gotcha.
And then
Now, really quick, since the tariffs for now are done, do you think the prices are still going to go up? Or do you think part of me kind of thinks it would be an excuse by the creators like, yeah, we do gotta raise the prices again, type of thing, or what do you think?
I don't want to say that they won't. I just think that if they do, it's gonna hurt everybody, I
Yeah.
think. People aren't gonna want to spend that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. Shops aren't shops are the ones that are gonna hurt the most, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because it's like there's certain books that like I'm reading right now that I'm like, I like it okay. But it's also like Night Watcher. This is one looking me right in the face. It's like, yeah, I like it. If it was $5, I wouldn't pick it up.
hmm Plenty of books just aren't worth it.
Yeah,
And then IDW has canceled the series Hunger and Dusk in single issues, which is a series that I'm reading. And they said that they're going to finish out the series in trade paperback form. And then they also questioned the future of the company because of money owed them by distributors,
that's
primarily
wild.
Diamond. So
Yeah,
it would be crazy to think that IDW would go away. I hope that doesn't happen. We
same.
all love IDW. So
Yeah,
hopefully. hopefully all this gets figured out. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I really haven't heard anything different from last week. So, and I never got my comics last week at all. So hopefully this week is just a nice big double week
Yeah.
and hopefully people buy books or I mean, shops aren't going to be around, man. We got to make money somehow. And if the books aren't coming
100%.
in, then, you know, you can't live off of back issues alone. Some
Yeah.
shops do and like make that their whole thing, but the shops that don't, it's like, no, we all of our money comes from new books every week. We need that.
Yeah. I mean that's at least with you where you're kind of fortunate though, because you can get back at, you have all the back issues and stuff where like, and I mean, always we always make jokes about them. Like with I went to Fanny Shop with you. They don't have back issues. It's like Diamond fucking up and screwing them over. That's got to hurt them even more. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, so it's like, well, it sucks. This sucks for you, but man, it's got to be even worse for some of these guys that no back issues at all to speak of.
Yeah, for real. And, you know, still no word from other distributors on different invoicing. So it's,
Yeah,
I don't know. This is a weird situation that I
yeah,
didn't think would take such a long time.
right.
So
Now, do you think this is just kind of on the subject of the back issue shops like you're talking about? Do you think they stay kind of like in business because they have a lot of big ticket back issues, or do you, because like you can't be, I don't care how many you sell, you can't be making like your rent on $1 comic books. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Um, there's a shop close to ours. We're cool with them. All they do is back issues and, pops and some vinyl records. I have no idea what their ratio of cheap stuff and expensive stuff
Yeah.
is. So I would personally be worried if that were my primary source of income,
Yeah.
but also I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know how you go about maintaining that business when that's your whole thing, because I'm sure
Hmm.
they have it figured out.
Yeah. I bet they have to hustle a lot. They'll go to cons and all that type of shit to, because it's
Yeah, and
like,
always buying stuff in.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Man,
don't know.
man, they probably have some stories that could rival yours as far as people coming in wanting to sell their shitty fucking 90s books.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Um, but man, it's like I can't imagine being at the shop like I am and then being like, okay, I'm done with work today. Time to go hunt for some books to bring back tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just
Hmm.
it's a lot of work. And
Yeah.
you gotta beat off with a stick everyone else that's trying to get the same thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, if so this is one of the things like if you pay attention to like the local auctions, if you get like because like right now there's like this one place it's called Kryl that's close to where dad is, with dad and mom area, and they're having an auction tonight, and they had comics there, and it's like I have a feeling there's not a lot of comic book fans that are going to be going to this. So like you could probably get them pretty cheap, but it's also like because like the way that's done is just kind of like they just plopped it down in one of those like brown flats, and you can't really see like in the pictures. It's like the death of Superman. Like the picture, like the cover, like I don't know which printing it is, but it's the one where Lois is holding his dead body. It's like that was on top, and then like the rest, I'm like I don't know what any of this stuff is. It's like you go, so like yeah, you could probably get that really fucking cheap,
Right.
but trying to go all the way there and then sit 3 hours and then like you get there, you look at the comics and it's nothing but garbage. Like I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah. Yeah. All of it sounds very, disheartening.
Yeah. And
So
then, oh, dude, one time we went to Blue Mound for an auction. They had comics, and they had those ones that were like I used to get from like CVS that were just like three pre-bagged comics that
Hmm.
were just, and no joke, this lady spent, I think it was like, so it was basically like you bid how much you want to bid, and then you can get as many as you want from that, but at that price. She ended up going up to like 20 some bucks, and she got those two, the two of the pre-packaged ones. And she's like, "Oh, this is what I wanted."
Hey, maybe the one in the front was something that meant a lot to her and she really
Maybe
wanted it.
it's just like you get knuckleheads that are just like, this is the good thing, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Dude, the worst is it happens all the time. It's people that like, hey, I don't know anything about these, but I clean out houses and these were left there.
yeah,
I'm like, look, if whoever was there, unless it's a death, left those books there, they're not worth shit.
yeah,
I'm sorry, but whoever, if they're worth something, whoever knows that is taking them. They just
yeah.
are.
I mean, like, you say that, but there's also like there is the off chance for like your shop specifically, since you have a big group of people that would want Spider-Man. If like someone's like, yeah, I have this stack of Spider-Man books, it's probably not, worth a lot, but you could be like, yeah, I'll give you 20 bucks for the whole stack, and then you could probably sell it and make money off of the whole stack. You know what I mean? So it's like, because
Maybe
yeah,
it's just where we've hit this point where people think 90s books are really old.
yeah,
Eh, And sure, they're 30 years old, but they're old, but they're not, you know what I mean? And
they're old,
so,
and it's also like that was at a boom time when a lot of them were getting produced. So
yeah,
like that hurts it too.
yeah, I mean the industry nearly tanked at that time. So it's like people call or stop in and say, I've got some real old comics, and I just know that it's not the real old that I'm hoping for, you
Yeah.
know? So
They're like, I got some really old comics. More Fun is what it's called. You're like, yes, bring it
yeah,
in.
where each issue is worth $5,000. That'd be something. I'd have to go to an auction house though.
Hmm. Man, and
No
that
one,
like,
no one's walking into my shop looking to drop multiple thousands of dollars on that stuff.
yeah. But I mean, at the same time, though, at the auction house, it'll be like that time when I got my Iron Fist first appearance, when like the auctioneer was like, he's like trying to get people to bid on like some of these other ones that no one wanted because it was just like random trades, and then like he gets to that one and like there's a bidding war between me and two other people, and he's like, okay, now wait one sec. These books are bigger. Why didn't you guys want these ones?
That's really funny.
He's like, what made this one so special? And then like also, we've talked about before that the Spider-Man, the first one where he wears the suit, the black suit,
Oh yeah.
that one sold like way high, like not high anymore probably, but it was like way high at the time. And there was like, what is the deal? Why are some of these going so much higher than others?
Hmm. Wait, he just thought that all comics were the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, and then this one dude was telling me, he's like, "Oh man, I messed up with the comics because I had an antique shop and I got rid of all of my superhero books and traded them for Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse because that was hot at the time, and now I can't even get rid of them."
Yeah, that is a generational fumble right there,
Yeah,
sir. Yeah. And I get people that bring in that stuff too, and it's like, look, I'm not saying these don't have value. I just don't want them, you
like
know?
that's one of those things where you just have to put it on eBay because it's
Yeah.
like that's so niche. And
Hmm.
like it's a niche thing and an already very niche thing. So
It
it's just like you
is.
you just have to like I can see you making money on it, but you gotta put it online because there's no way that,
The
for you
problem
to. to
Yeah.
get someone to walk in and be like, I want your Daffy Duck books, please.
Here's the thing though. Sometimes that does happen, and I can provide an example that happened just this week is a guy comes in and he wants like Bonanza and comics that have the photocopy covers based
Oh
on
yeah.
TV shows from back in the day. The problem is he doesn't want to spend the money that those books are worth, right?
Hmm.
I'm not saying they're anything crazy, but they're like $8 to $12 books, depending on what they are, because they are from the 50s,
Hmm.
and they don't want to pay it. They're like, oh, well, like, 5 years ago, people had these in their dollar bin. It's like, okay, I get that, but also times change,
You
man.
know, like 5 years ago, a dollar was worth about $8.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with like Disney and Archie. Like old, like Golden Age Archie and early Silver Age Archie, worth some money. But the
Hmm.
guys that come in, they want to buy it for, three
Yeah.
bucks a piece. So I'm just like, fuck it. I don't want it. I don't want any of it.
Yeah. Like I'll cut you a really good deal, man. Get some Archie Digest for you up in here.
Ugh. I used to, I had a large batch of old Archie, and I was so sick of it that I just threw all of it in a box for $1, got rid of that box really quick.
I bet.
And
I
then I was like, man, maybe $1 was just a bit too low.
yeah. I just picture how funny would it be if like, a year later that guy came in, he's like, "Well, I got some good stuff to sell." And it's
And
just
it's all
all of
those
that
books. Yeah.
Archie.
Yeah. They hit the old reverse Uno card.
And you're like, "Holy shit. I'll give you $2." He's like, "Double my money."
Anyway, well, that's the news, man.
Yeah. What'd you read this week? Not a lot, I bet.
Nothing.
Okay. So then I'll just talk about last week's books that came in. So I got Night Watcher issue 5, Wonder Woman issue 4, Uncanny X-Men number 9, Metamorpho the Element Man number 2, Justice League Unlimited number 3, Superman 22, Godzilla Monster Piece Theater number 3, Wolverine 2, and Wolverine's Revenge. So yeah, I'll mention Night Watcher. It's by Juniba and Pay. It's okay. We get a sad bear that becomes a bad guy. I think it shows his backstory. He's so tortured, like all villains are these days, and that's why he's evil, you know.
Classic.
Yeah. And also, when I said bear, I mean an actual bear, not a large gay man. But yeah, so uh, our old Janeka. She's like, she goes to her pig girlfriend, which sounds sexist, but she is a pig. And, basically she's, 'cause she's a musician. She's a punk rock pig. And she's like, I gotta go on tour. How about you come with me? And she's like, no, I can't. I gotta do some stuff, because she's gonna keep moonlighting as the night watcher. It's like, boy. I'm not gonna lie, as I read this, I was like, I really don't care that much. Like, I think it's 6 issues, so it's like maybe if it's like a light week, I'll pick up the last one, but I really just don't care. So yeah, I'm at like a 5. This series has been kind of a letdown for me.
I figured you were kind of sticking it out just to finish it, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
it's I really am. If it's more than one issue though left, because is it 6 issues, 6 issue series?
I'm sure it's 5 or 6. I don't know.
Yeah. So, because this one felt like it could have been the last, but it's like, no, we're getting more. I'm like, oh, thank you. Uh, all right, Absolute Wonder Woman. This is issue 4. It's by Kelly Thompson and who does the art? There it is. Hayden Sherman. Art's good. Story's solid. I don't know if this is a $5 book though. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's pretty neat. The giant sword's cool,
Right?
but it's also like $5 for this. I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to keep reading it. I liked it though. I like it, but yeah, it's just they're pricing themselves out, I think.
Yeah, I get that.
So I'll probably go like a seven. Um, The Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone and Andre Bresson on the art. It's neat. It's still kind of like a problem I have with a lot of newer books these days where it's like, look at our new characters. And they put all the focus on that. It's like, believe it or not, Gail, I'm not reading an X-Men book for your new characters. I would, especially with this team, I would much rather have more stuff with Nightcrawler, Gambit, and Wolverine than Dead Kid and other characters that I haven't learned the names of yet. But but yeah, it's fine. It's just like I said, I'm just like I'm not invested in these characters, and when the dead kid, oh maybe he's dead. Oh, it's like probably not, since his powers is he's fucking dead.
Right. Yeah, I mean that was classic, like them trying to build suspense, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it's another seven. Metamorpho. This is by Steve Lieber and Al Ewing, and this is like a fine book. My main problem with this book, though, is like the tone is silly, but there is like really no jokes in it. Like, yeah, like the closest thing they have to jokes is they'll be like, ah, daddy-o, blah, 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 like that type of thing. But there is like, it's just, there's no humor. But it's like, ah, look at this, daddy-o. It's like, oh, okay. Like so it's just an odd thing, but Steve Lieber's art's really good.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm still interested. We're gonna get some, like it's also he's delving into some of the characters that like I don't know a lot about, so that's gonna, might be really cool. Like so it ends with oh, what's his name? The the new chief of police in Gotham. What's his name?
Oh,
Can't die.
yeah, I can only think of the mayor's name right now. I don't know.
Savage. Vandal
Oh,
Savage.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it ends with him talking to Mad Mod, and then he's brings up, he's like, oh, so what a better time to see an old friend, and it's gonna be Java, who's the caveman henchman. And I'm like, oh, that's neat. I never really thought that they would have known each other, but it's like it makes sense because all cavemen know each other. So this will probably be like a 7.5. It's good, and I don't hate it yet, so that's good. Justice League Unlimited issue 3, Dan Mora, Mark Wade. I like it. This is like what Question should have been doing, actually investigating instead of fighting Cyborg Superman.
Right.
Which, still doesn't make any sense. But one other thing that kind of annoys me, and this is like I've said it before, Star Sapphire needs a mask. Just like in when I talk about Superman, Lois Lane needs a mask in that because, everyone knows what Lois Lane looks like. It's like Carol Ferris is the face of a fucking company. If she wants to have a secret identity, she needs a mask.
I don't disagree,
But
man.
yeah, the art's fantastic though. And I like the stuff
Thank
with
you.
Plastic Man and Phantom Lady. I thought that was kind of cool. But boy, they took Phantom Lady's costume, her old school costume, which was like, and then when they've updated in like in years past where it was like less revealing, but it still looked cool. And then they gave her, and instead they're like, we're gonna go with the Terrifics costume, which is just the most bland ass thing I've ever seen. Like, boy, that was a quite the letdown. But the bad guys being brought up, it's interesting and all of that. And then we get some crazy stuff with Swamp Thing, which is like it just seems like they always have to do that type of stuff with Swamp Thing, where it's just like when he's in a team book because he's just too powerful, they're like, no, no, here's this plot device that made him burst into flames. He can't help us. So, but no, this is probably an 8.5. It's a really good book. It's kind of what you want from a Justice League book, you know?
I've been enjoying it.
Yeah. Superman, Josh Williamson, Dan Mora. Again, amazing art. The these Doomsday people are kind of cool, but you know, it's I'm still like Lois needs a mask. But this picture here, super fucking cool.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So yeah, it's neat. I'm here for this. Curious where things go from here. And one last thing, and this is just me that I just noticed this now as I was flipping through. If Lois was Nightwing, she would not have a flat butt. If the perverts drawing Nightwing were drawing Lois,
You'd be caked up.
yeah, it'd be like you'd be like, what is going on anywhere else besides that big old badonkadonk? All right. What did I rate that one? Because I'll probably go with an 8 for that one. All right, so this is Tom Scioli's Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater. This book is kind of a fucking fever dream. So like the first issue was really, really good. Second issue, I didn't get to talk about, but like it just jumped around so much to the point where I'm like, there's just like it seems like pages were missing. Like he was like, I don't want to draw this since I'm doing all the work. I'm just gonna, So, and then like this one, it's kind of more like that. It's just, it kind of reads like, when like a really excited kid is telling you a story, and he's like, yeah, so Godzilla's walking, and then there's some werewolves, and then the Dracula is like trying to convince this girl, and then Sherlock Holmes is now a vampire, and yeah, blah blah, yeah, like that. It's like that, and this is also really funny. There's a part when Gatsby is talking, like they're in a ship and it crashes and it converts to boat mode. And they go, Jules Verne thought of everything. Jules Verne's the real person. Captain Nemo is the character. How did that get past editorial?
They probably just didn't know.
Yeah, I'm just like, what are you doing? But yeah, so there's a bunch of werewolves that they fight. And then they meet up with a like one of Frankenstein's kids, like grandkid maybe. And he's like, Guten Tag, Herr Gatsby. And so then yeah, like he then gets his they go to fight Dracula and save the girl and stuff, and then the time traveler shows back up from the time machine and he helps them, and but then Dracula's like, "Hey, I can control your mind." He's like, "Ah, you can control my mind." And he's like, "What do you got there?" He's like, "Ah, this is a ring that lets people get bigger. Or anything you swear." He's like, "Ah, this is perfect." And so then, oh, and also early on there was a mummy that showed up because Godzilla destroyed the pyramids. So the mummy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get Godzilla," but he's this little tiny mummy. So then Dracula's like, "Get big!" And so then Godzilla's fighting a giant mummy, and then a bunch of werewolves show up, and then Dracula's like, "I'm gonna make them big too," and so he did. And then he made Frankenstein's monster big, and Godzilla's fighting that too.
Why not?
Yeah, and then Dracula's like, "Hey, um, girl that I kidnapped, since I have you under my control, you got to make me big now." So she made him big, and so Godzilla's fighting all of them at the same time, and Sherlock Holmes dies, and then after Godzilla throws the Dracula into the sun, Great Gatsby gets made big, and him and Godzilla fight.
That looks ridiculous.
It is. Yeah, and then like afterwards, Godzilla just leaves, and then he just keeps doing stuff. But then Gatsby don't care because the girl's still alive. But then she's like, "I'm married, dude. I'm gonna stay with my husband. What are you talking about, you idiot?" So then Gatsby's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, that sucks." That's about it. So I'm probably at a 6 for it. It started off so strong, and then like I said, the second issue kind of sucked. And then this one is just like I'm like, this is just a fucking fever dream. It really is. So overall, I'll say a 7. for the series because I think it's got to be over after that. How do you go? How do you top all of the Universal monsters versus Godzilla and Jay Gatsby?
Right.
All right. Helverine issue 2 by Benjamin Percy and Raphael Inigo. And it's good. Benjamin Percy does a really good job. You get like he goes back to where he died and he's like looking around and there's some like basically like, these demon things have been feasting on people and this there's only one mutant alive there still that's still alive that's there. And then he, of course, dies. And the next issue is gonna be Helverine teaming up with Doctor Strange. So it should be pretty cool. I like it. I like the way that Dakin is written in this. Like the other time, like the most I got from Dakin before this was that X Factor where he was in it and he was like basically a himbo, you know, like he was just like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm funny and cool. And it's just like I'm like, I don't think he's ever acted like this before. And so
Mm,
now I'm like, I'm glad he's just not anymore because it's like this seems more how I remembered him prior, like the one that killed, you know, Punisher and turned him into Frankencastle. This seems more like him than the other.
yeah.
I hope Hellbrain sticks around though, because it's like it's neat, but it's at the same time like as I'm reading this, I'm like I have a feeling this is going to end with Dakin just coming back to life and no more Hellbrain, which I don't want to happen. So I'm at probably an 8 for this book too. I like it. Now, lastly, it's Wolverine's Revenge. Why didn't you? I thought that you were still reading this book. It's Greg Capullo and Hickman.
I mean, if I'm honest, dude, got a lot going on at work, and
Fair
sometimes
enough.
I just you know, it's
Yeah,
I'm not thinking all the
I gotcha,
time.
buddy. I gotcha. But I'm gonna say maybe the best art from this series. I'm not gonna say the best story wise because it's still like mediocre story wise, but I don't know. He just seems to be doing better with this book, like this time than the others. You get a bunch of like Omega Red kids, I guess, fighting Wolverine in this, and he takes it to him, and then there's a big reveal at the end that surprises no one. I'm curious what happens next issue. It's fine, like I said, it's nothing that's gonna, I'm like I'm so glad I'm reading this book, but at the same time, I'm like, ooh, his art's good.
Yeah,
So, so this will probably be another 7.5 for me, and that is my books for the week. What are you excited for if your comics come in?
wouldn't that be something? Um, Probably JSA, Sonic, and the Sacrificers.
Right on. I'll say Batman. And I've been enjoying that for the most part. This is still like a light week. It's like I know the shoe's gonna drop, and we're gonna get like 50 books that we're reading in one week soon. But Two-Face and I'll go JSA too.
Yeah, because remember the stuff that was on last week's email should be showing up with this too. So
Okay. So now it's Fantastic Four time, man. So I just had an idea like a while back. I was like, this will be funny. Um, to talk about because you're a big Muppets fan. I was watching the old Muppet Christmas Carol, and I was like, it'd be fun if they could do like comic book movies. But since Disney owns, everything, you could just do comic book movies, but where you keep one of the actors the same. Everyone else is a Muppet. What would be your comic book movies of choice that you would want? And who would be and like for added fun, you could say who's the one human, and you can even cast the Muppets if you want.
okay. So I misunderstood because I did not read the part where it said comic
Oh,
movies.
well in any movie, fuck it.
Okay. Because the first one on my list is Ocean's 11, the famous comic book
Nice.
movie.
Yeah.
Um, you know, keep Clooney because he's charismatic enough, right?
Yeah.
But then make the rest of the team the Muppets. I think that could be fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Robin from the Bear, probably.
hmm?
maybe Robin from the Bear, probably, you know.
Oh, yeah, 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 probably so. Yeah. Um, next, I think if done right, like with proper Muppets tone, Van Helsing would be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And fuck it, yeah, Hugh could stay the same, or make Kermit Van Helsing, and then someone else could be the human.
Yeah,
But
I'm trying to think of like any of the other actors in that movie that's not Hugh Jackman now. I'm like,
well, Kate Beckinsale,
oh yeah. Oh yeah, you keep Kate and you get rid of Hugh Jackman.
yeah,
Every day.
yeah, for sure. Um, I just had in general Star Wars. I think any of them could probably work, but um, I don't know. I almost think it'd be funniest if we're doing original trilogy if you kept Harrison Ford, just because boy, he would just hate it even more than he already
Yeah.
does, right?
Yeah.
But I think that would be hilarious. And then uh finally we had already talked about it. It's Lord of the Rings. Um Probably keep Sir Ian McKellen
Hmm.
or maybe Aragorn, but then the rest have got to be Muppets.
Yeah. No, yeah, you got to keep Ian McKellen, I think. I mean,
Mhm.
because he was basically dealing with Muppets with those damn hobbits the whole time anyway.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Merry and Pippin, right?
Okay, so for me, like the first one that comes to mind is The Dark Knight. And I think Gonzo as Batman would be probably perfect. And
Yeah.
then I was like, at first I was like trying to think like, oh, should we keep Heath Ledger or who, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, wait, no, Michael Caine. Just
He's
have him
already
stay off. Yeah.
experienced.
Yeah. This is basically the reunion movie.
Yeah. He walks on set and sees Kermit. He's like, who's that guy over there?
And then let's go with as much as I don't like these movies, Infinity War.
Hmm.
I think that'd be hilarious. You just get, I guess, Robert Downey Jr. Keep him, and then everyone else just is a Muppet. The part when, I get them mixed up because I've only watched them both once. But the part when Captain Marvel and Thanos are going back and forth, I think it'd be hilarious if it was Miss Piggy and anyone else.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
I know this would be so lame, but I picture Miss Piggy as Spider-Man and she's like, Mr. Stark, I feel so
Oh yeah, I love that. I think
good.
I think for that though, you have to have that little the one that was Tiny Tim.
Yeah.
He's like ah.
I love it.
Um and then let's go with a Hellboy.
Okay.
The first Ron Perlman Hellboy. Keep
Mhm.
Ron Perlman, rest are Muppets. Um, you know, like Kermit would of course be the guy that, tosses him the cross at the end, who then just gets shit canned in the next movie. And then trying to think of another you know, oh, first Avenger. You get Chris Evans, keep him, and then because that one kind of is perfect for that, because then you have the commandos with them and whatnot.
Sam the Eagle could easily just be one of the officers.
Yeah, yeah, be perfect. I wonder who's the most Nazi-ish of the Muppets though that could be the bad guys.
Well, they have that like group of, five that are always the bad guy Muppets. It would just
Mhm.
be one of them.
Though I will say, instead of get rid of Chris Evans and just keep Hugo Weaving, maybe.
True.
Because him working alongside a Muppet would be pretty great.
I was also thinking of my favorite Muppet movie is Muppet Treasure Island. And
Yeah.
there's the scene where Sweetums, they're like at the final fight, and
Oh
Sweetums comes
yeah.
running towards them and then takes out the bad guys, and he's like, "Are you kidding? I love you guys." I picture him at first being a Nazi, and
Yeah.
then he realizes he's a bad guy, and then the same thing happens. He switches sides.
Dude, I love Sweetums.
Yeah, he's great.
Let us know, guys, Muppet comic book movies or any type of movies. Let us know.
Hmm. Alrighty. That's the end of the episode, man. I think we stretched out an episode
Yeah,
for not having much.
right.
So, all right, guys. Well, Casey told you what to comment below. We hope you enjoyed, and we'd love to stay in chat, but we have to go kill Dracula, so we'll catch you next time. See ya.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Worlds Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Two Worlds Pod, on Twitter at two_worlds_PC, and on Facebook at facebook.com/twoworldspodcast. You can email us with any questions or comments at twoworldspodcast@gmail.com, and if you would, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube.